Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are set to go head-to-head as 5 boxers from both Matchroom and Queensberry Promotions will clash for bragging rights in Saudi Arabia. The 5 dust-ups are set to take place on the undercard of the undisputed light heavyweight championship bout between Dmitry Bivol and Beterbiev. Is it Beterbiev? On June
Beterbiev.
All right, but I'd call him Beterbiev, right? Because he's better than the other guy. On June the 1st in Riyadh. Leading that will be 5 incredible fights as Hearn and Warren go head-to-head to prove who has the best rosters of fighters. And the latest episode of Top Boxing, Simon Jordan Spencer, the boys discussed the up-and-coming Matchroom versus Queensberry card and whether the 5 versus 5s format could be something fans see more of in the future. Here's Simon.
Yeah, the Saudis are building up an empire. They're building up an iconography of what boxing should look like. And they're not worried right now how much money they may or may not lose on individual events because they're building up a bigger picture. And eventually that picture will become economically viable and successful. Whereas Frank and Eddie run their businesses slightly differently and perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
They've got to make money, or at least get a chance of making money, on every show they put out. So it's a very different dynamic.
Sure.
And that's why Frank saying that it might be challenging going forward and you thinking that you can turn this into a pay-per-view model probably doesn't work.
Yeah.
Wins for fighters will count for 1 point, although that'll be doubled for a knockout or a TKO. Right, let's go straight into Spencer. Spencer, is this a good idea or not?
Alan, how you both doing?
Good.
Look,
Great, mate.
I love the idea. I love the format, if I'm totally honest, because you go like, look at what we've got here. You know, the big problem, I think, Alan, is it financially feasible? Is it, financially achievable?
Yeah.
Doing that over here on these shores without the investment of Saudi Arabia. But look, if we could get that, I would love it. Like 5v5, promoter versus promoter, taking all the politics out of it, maybe airing it on both broadcasts, maybe doing, like I was saying to Simon there, a pay-per-view model where you go at like $2.99 to watch a show or whatever, but you can have big fights on there, like right down the card. Like we're very used to in this country watching the sort of like main event and maybe the chief support as being very recognizable names, and then you've got the undercards that are coming through, guys that are maybe not so well known, boxing journeymen, etc., and building up. So people sometimes want to go and watch the main event and maybe just the chief support. But I think from time to time over here, if the promoters can get it together, because that's what Saudi Arabia has done, it's brought all these promoters together. And if they can use that model over here, I think it could be successful. I think it really could. And like every now and then you throw in, a show like we're getting out there on June the 1st, and it would be fantastic. I really do.
Spencer, listen, a couple of great fights. But potentially looking at Zhang and Wilder. However, the one that really caught my eye was the one Alan was talking about there.
The one?
But
sorry.
I mean, what a fight that's going to be, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you got the boxing monster in Artur Beterbiev against the boxing purist in Dmitry Bivol. Bivol's the guy that beat Canelo Alvarez, beat him quite convincingly.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable. Both guys undefeated. Very rarely do we get a chance to see two guys of this magnitude going in together, this quality going in together, and it is like a contrast of styles. And it's a fantastic fight because we're all going to have an opinion, and we don't know, will Beterbiev be too strong for him? Will he be able to walk him down, or will Bivol use his beautiful boxing skills and be able to keep him away? But yeah, do you know what? That is, for the boxing purists, Sally, that is an unbelievable fight. I mean, I know you've got sexy fights on the undercard, Deontay Wilder, Zhang Zhang, both coming off the Joe Parker loss, so they both need the big win here. And we've got Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgovic is another great fight as well. That's possibly for the vacant IBF title after the Undisputed happens with Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk on May 8th.
Is it possible, Spencer, that if Daniel beats this fella, that he could get a fight with AJ? Is that a possibility, or is that wishful thinking?
Great question, Alan, because no, I think it is very much a possibility. Now, they're talking about doing one of these 5v5s in September at Wembley Stadium. Anthony Joshua topping the bill. Where would he go? Who would he box? Well, if Dubois boxes Filip Hrgovic and it does become for the vacant IBF title and Daniel Dubois wins, all of a sudden we find ourselves in a position, two British guys fighting for the world heavyweight title at Wembley with a 5v5 on the undercard. So, yeah, I think it is very much a possibility. And I think that's where they're driving it, Alan. I think that is the game plan, if I'm honest.
Listen, Spencer, another one that's caught the eye. One of the best fights we've seen in years, I think, mate. was Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, the fight in New York at Madison Square Garden. There's talk, I think it's just been announced that there's going to be a rematch which will come in the same bill as Jake Paul versus Tyson Fury. That's getting held in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Texas. That's got to be something we're all looking forward to, because that first fight, Spencer, was unbelievable, wasn't it? Split decision.
Ali, absolutely, mate. Listen, I want to dust off the old cowboy hat and put the boots on and get out there, mate, in Dallas, because that you want to see that again, wouldn't you?
I'm up for that if you're looking for company.
Could you hold on? I'm getting a vision now. Me and you in Dallas with cowboy hats and boots on. Maybe not the best look, mate.
And some frills as well.
Yeah, but what a fantastic fight! I mean, let's give the card a real credibility, because that was, like you say, that goes down in memory as, you know, one of the best fights in recent times. One of the best fights that they've actually held at Madison Square Garden. Both girls punched themselves to a standstill. So yeah, we get that again on the undercard of Jake Paul, Tyson Fury. So what a fight! And yeah, I'm really pleased that that's been made.
What about Spence? Where does this, with the greatest respect, you know, good luck with the chucking financial backing like you can't believe behind it. What does that mean for the likes of York Hall and places like that? You know, Belfast City Hall and some of those tear-ups we've seen over the decades?
Yeah, great question, Alan. And I think, look, I mean, they're still continuing, you know, because that is the home of British boxing, really. That's where champions are built. You know, when the guys turn professional and they may be going with guys that haven't got TV contracts or whatever, and they're trying to achieve those heights. That's where they learn their trade. That's where they learn the game, you know, and that's where you see fantastic fights and fantastic shows at the York Hall, Bethnal Green. But look, I think that Eddie Hearn and Matcham and what they're doing out there. Eddie Hearn, and Queensbury, and what they're doing out there with Frank Warren. I think that, you know, that's something that's fantastic, and it's great for boxing because it's taking the politics away and we're getting the best be the best. But, you know, like for the other promoters out there, that still continues. We still get the O2 fights, we still get the York Hall fights. You know, them fights still continue. And I think for the boxers, their dream is to try and get on those bills out in Saudi and get financially secure. So I think it's a win-win for everyone, because we're starting to see the fights now, and we're getting these undisputed fights that, look, we haven't had an undisputed heavyweight title fight since 1999. Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. That's how often they come along. And the reason we don't get these fights is because politics get in the way. Different broadcasters, 60-40 splits, didn't want to agree on 50-50. I'm the more valuable fighter. But now, Turkey Al Sheikh and Saudi Arabia and their investment have taken that away, because they go, this is what you're getting. That's what you're getting. And trust me, it's huge money. So there's no argument. And so, yeah, it's great for the fans and for the sport of boxing. But yeah, we still get the big shows over here. And I think that's a prime example is Wembley Stadium in September. Anthony Joshua possibly topping the bill there against the winner of Daniel Dubois or Philip Hergovich, and the 5v5 on the undercard. So the British fans, you know, they get those shows at Wembley still as well.
Last one, Spence, because I'm behind time as usual. What a great fight we saw at the O2 with the Ipswich boy. Was it Wardle?
Fabio Wardley and Fraser.
What a fight that was, Wardley. That was talk about guts there. That was a great fight. And we'll get a rematch there, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely, we will. You know, the fans will demand that, and I think for the boxers as well, they'll go pay-per-view with that next time, because I mean, you know, we talk about recent heavyweight title fights that we've had, and even for the world title, etc. And you look at that, and that was an old school, like, bar brawl, that was, where they both just left it all in the ring. And you're thinking it was a real seesaw action going one way, then the other. Who's going to win this? Who's going to come back? Even going into the 12th round, I thought, someone's going to get knocked out here. But, you know, to their credit, they both ended up on their feet, and it was a fantastic fight. And, we need to see that again. That's what British boxing's all about. That installed faith in British boxing, it really did.
Spencer, nice one. Thank you. Have a great few days. Enjoy the football tonight.